Okay. Looks like we are live. What's up, guys?
Hello, everyone.
Let's see. Let me get this presentation maximized. All right. How's that look for you guys? Everything working? People are just filing in.
Okay, welcome to the stream.
Cool. Kyune, how's it looking? I actually can't see the chat right now, but
It looks really good, actually.
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Do you think we should wait a little bit more, or should we just get started?
We can wait like another minute or two so more people can come in.
Okay. That sounds good. Oh, you know what? I can just look at the stream on my phone. I'll do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, okay, multitask.
Let's see how to do this. How's everyone doing today? Yeah, this smooth jazz was suggested by Kyune, because it's her aesthetic.
Yes.
With her like smooth, posh, sophisticated voice and the smooth jazz. Perfect combination. ASMR with Kyune.
Speak for yourself. Actually, yeah, I was gonna say my icon's right in the middle of the screen.
Your icon is right in the middle.
So no, you know my Discord flashy thing.
Oh, your Discord flashy thing.
Yeah. Is it possible to move it?
How do we?
Like,
Discord.
I don't know if you can do that.
Interesting. That icon does not appear there for me. Like,
Really?
I don't see it.
Oh. Okay. That's
very
fine.
odd. It's okay. We'll just be aware that you're on the stream the whole time. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I can see it in the stream. I just don't see it on my computer.
Yeah, it's just flashing.
Must be some integration with the Discord overlays or something like that.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all right. I don't want to take too much time to mess with that. All right. Looks like we got 30 people in the 35 people watching right now. Shall we get going?
Yeah, sure. Let's do
Okay.
it.
Everybody, welcome to the stream. This is going to be a vocals-focused stream, and we have Kyune, wonderful classically trained, talented singer, who's going to teach us a bunch of awesome exercises and fundamentals. So, Kyune, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. My name is Kyune. I've been in the community for about 7 years now, and I've had classical training for about 5 years.
Wow.
And I actually hold a diploma in vocal performance as well. So
Thanks.
hopefully today I can share some of my knowledge with you.
So we have a licensed singer today who's going to teach us. I can't wait to learn. This is going to be great.
I can't wait to learn from you as well.
Oh my god.
So
I just yell.
let's hear your introduction.
I'm Fome. I've been in the community also for around 7 years. And I like to yell a lot, and I sing in a band called Phoenix Ash. And I can't wait to learn and show you guys some belting tricks today. All right.
All right.
So let's get started. I control the slide, so you can tell me whenever you want to advance it, but I'll go to the next slide now.
Okay, let's get started.
Okay, so we're on the first slide, vocal registers.
Okay, cool. So, vocal registers. First, I'll just describe what a register is. So, a register is a range of notes in your voice with a characteristic timbre, or sort of like a characteristic sound quality.
Oh my god, you said timbre.
And
that sounds sophisticated.
And so I'm sure most of you have heard of the terms chest, head, and mixed voice. I'll just explain a bit about each voice. So your chest voice, you can sort of explain it as being your speaking voice. It has a fuller sound, and normally resides in your speaking range in your lower pitches, it's sort of in its natural state. And you
Okay.
can sort of feel your chest voice. So if you follow me now, if you place your hand on your chest, like sort of
Okay,
near where your heart is,
I'm gonna do this.
and you sing ah on a very comfortable low note, ah, you can feel the vibrations on your hand from the chest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can
Oh,
feel it.
that's really interesting.
Yeah, okay,
Wow,
that's
it's
because
literally in
your
the chest.
yeah, your chest is the resonating chamber, which is being used for that sort of voice. I'll explain a bit more about resonance later.
Okay, cool.
So we'll
And
move on
guys,
to
following the stream, feel free to sing along, because this is
yeah.
an interactive stream, guys.
So next I'll talk about the head voice. So it's sort of like an area and lighter sound, and you can imitate a head voice by pretending to be an owl. So you can follow me again. So we go like, "Hoo, hoo,
Whoo,
hoo." Yeah.
whoo.
So ooh, that ooh sound, that is
Whoo.
head voice.
Okay, cool.
Falsetto. People think that falsetto is a different thing, but actually falsetto is just a subset of head voice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I actually was really confused about that.
Yeah. So falsetto, so head voice is sort of when your vocal cords aren't touching as much, and falsetto actually is even less touching, so there's a lot of air, which is why it sounds really like thin and
Oh,
airy.
so
But that's
falsetto is
also
an
why,
extra airy head
yeah,
voice.
extra airy head voice.
Interesting.
Mhm. And so head voice allows you to sing higher pitches, which is why most opera singers tend to only use head or mixed voice when they sing. Okay, so I'll move on to mixed voice. And the mixed voice isn't like one certain sound. It is just any blend of chest and head voice. So it can be 80% chest, 20% head, or vice versa. And it's used normally to transition between your vocal break, or what we call in classical singing your passaggio.
What?
Passaggio.
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 Yeah, so it just means your bridge between
Wow,
your
you
chest
have
and
like
head
such an
voice.
Italian accent saying it too. Passaggio.
So yeah, you can find out your vocal break easily when you slide your voice up and down, and you'll just feel, I'm sure all of you know, when suddenly your voice just like gives way, and
Oh,
then you have
God.
to go into head voice. I'm sure we can all relate.
Oh yeah, I have the most horrible breaking range.
Yeah, so the way to fix or sort of like remedy that and transition it better is to use your mixed voice. And you can sort of imitate that sound by pretending to be a fire truck. So I want you to follow me again. So go wee-oo, wee-oo, wee-oo. Can you try that?
Is that right?
Yeah, wee-oo. So you're singing very, yeah, so you're singing very high, but you're also not just doing breath and not just head voice, right?
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, so
I'm
that
trying.
sort of placement, that nasal placement is your mixed voice. Okay.
Sounds good.
So if you have a look at this weird looking diagram on the right,
Oh yeah, the anatomy of the throat. Wow.
yes, that is your larynx. So your larynx is also known as your voice box, and it houses your vocal cords. Actually, we all have two pairs of vocal cords, the false vocal cords and the true ones. And like the false ones aren't fake, they just don't make the sound.
They
The
don't
true ones-
exist. They're imaginary.
they do exist, they just don't make the sound. They actually stop food from going down your windpipe when you're swallowing.
Used for screaming
but-
too, but we don't talk about that here.
Yeah, we don't talk about that here. Yeah, so your true vocal cords is where your sound is made. And I just thought if you want a bit more geeky science stuff, your register use is actually determined by two muscles.
Ooh.
It's the thyroarytenoid muscle, which is your TA muscle. That shortens and contracts your vocal folds. So it makes you able to sing lower notes in your chest voice. And then you have your CT, thyroarytenoid.
Arytenoid. Okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
And then you have your cricothyroid muscle, your CT muscle, which elongates and stretches your vocal folds, allowing you to sing in head voice. So you can actually physically visualize the break in your vocal register by when the TA muscle is taken over by the CT muscle.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow, okay. I never knew that. So mechanistically, that's what's happening when you sing a head voice versus a chest voice.
Yeah, that's when you transition. Suddenly, like that release of the TA muscle into the CT muscle is where your voice suddenly like, does that little blip thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's really interesting.
Yeah, that is just a bit of like extra geekiness. Don't worry about it though.
I love it. I never knew that. Okay, next slide.
Yeah, next slide. Okay,
Right.
so a bit more about how the sound is actually made in your throat.
Oops, sorry, it went back.
Oh,
Back. There we go. Okay.
yeah.
There we go. Now we're back. We're good.
Okay, so how sound is actually made is when air passes through your vocal cords, which are actually not cords, they're more like folds of tissue. When air passes through them, the tissue comes together and they oscillate to make vibrations.
Okay.
And these vibrations are amplified by things called resonating chambers, like resonators. And they basically react to certain frequencies of vibration and they vibrate together.
Okay.
So this modifies and amplifies the sound.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So when they say placement, it's like where that resonance is happening.
Exactly. So using your chest voice is actually using your chest resonator. So it's directly linked to each other.
Okay.
And I've put a little screenshot here of which resonators are used with which sort of pitches. And if you have a look, it's quite interesting. Like,
wait, where is
you
that?
start with.
Where's the
Oh,
screenshot?
it's on the same slide.
Oh,
It's just the other bullet points. Yeah.
Actually, I don't see it.
Wait, what? Aren't you pointing at it right now?
Am I?
Yeah. It's like the bullet points in a different font.
Okay, got it. I got it. Sorry, I thought they were like pictures or something. Okay.
Okay. So if you can see, like this list goes from lower down your body up to the very top, the bones of your skull, and your chest is for lower pitches. And as you move up your body through your sinus, like your sinuses are at the top. Sorry. The throat, the mouth, the nasal, the facial, your pitch gets gradually higher.
Okay.
Which is why chest voice is good for low notes and head voice is good for high notes. Because those resonators sort of like the higher frequencies.
Yeah,
And
that's
vice
really
versa
interesting.
for the chest voice. Yeah.
I feel like this gives me better vocabulary to use when I describe belting because I didn't know any of this stuff.
I think it's always interesting and good to know where the sound is coming from.
Okay.
So I think we can go on to the next slide.
Sure. Vocal placement.
Yes. So let's just wait for the stream to change as well.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're waiting for it? Okay.
Yeah, I'm just watching it.
Okay. You can, as soon as you say hit the slide, I'll just swap it and then you can start talking because there's going to be a little bit of lag between us doing it and the stream changing.
Right. Sorry, I'm completely... Okay, yeah, I got it.
No
Okay.
problem.
So vocal placement is actually, I find, a very vague thing. Because, your singing friend or your teacher tells you to place your voice somewhere and you're like, well, what does that actually mean? But actually what it is that it's related to the resonators that you're using. So it's where you focus or visualize the sound in your body. So you can focus your sound in your lips. My voice just broke. In your lips.
In my lips, yes.
Yes, or in sort of your cheekbones or in your chest. And everyone has a different ideal vocal placement. So there's not like there's one gold standard. Like everyone has a different voice and different sort of registers and different timbres. So you have to find the right one for you.
Okay.
Basically. And I think there could be an entire stream on just vocal placement itself, because it is quite a big topic. But I wanted to talk about a bit of balance. So there's a Italian term called chiaroscuro. Chiaroscuro, which means light and dark. What it means is that you should always have a balance of light and dark in art or music, really.
So philosophical.
So that there's contrast.
I like it. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So what I want everyone to do when they go back is to try and experiment with a darker voice and a brighter voice. How you can do this is, if you follow me now, choose a note that you're very comfortable with.
Okay, class.
And then a vowel. I'm gonna do ooh, okay.
Okay.
And then first imagine your voice at the back of your throat, like sort of your soft palate area.
Okay.
And then try and move your placement. Imagine your voice moving along the top, the roof of your mouth to your lips, and then back again.
Okay.
Can you try that? Okay. So it'll be like, ooh.
Ooh, ooh.
Yeah? Yeah. Do you feel that that sounds different when you move it up and down?
Yeah, and I also feel it vibrating differently in my mouth.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
like
right?
I feel
You
like
can feel your lips vibrating
my
too.
lips buzzing as it moves to the front, and then it like goes back. It doesn't feel like that when it's in the back.
Yeah. So that's one example of how you can do a darker and lighter sound. So when you place your sound in front, it sort of automatically makes a brighter sound.
Awesome.
Whereas if you have it at the back, then it's sort of more like your typical, I call it fake opera sound. You know, when people are like, oh, like that sort of thing. Yeah, yeah. Which is not really what opera is.
It
but,
says
you
a
know,
real
it is
opera
your...
singer here.
It is your fake opera sound. Yeah. But I wanted to say that if you have absolutely no idea where to start with vocal placement, something called the inward smile is a good starting point. You can follow me as well at home. So I want you to smile gently with your lips together.
This is
And
me
you'll
smiling.
you'll feel your cheekbones sort of like going up slightly. They raise slightly, right? When you smile.
Yeah, totally.
And your lip sort of curls up slightly. That's a good starting placement to sing, like a sort of expression and placement to sing. Yeah.
I'm trying to imagine myself singing this way.
I mean, I don't know if you noticed, but like a lot of opera singers, when they sing, like they sort of raise their eyebrows a lot, and then like they're very full of expression. That's actually not just because they're acting; it's because it helps them place the voice in front in their face.
Oh, okay.
So if you have no idea where to start, then I think that's a good place to start. Try and practice singing while maintaining that expression, if possible.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
So yeah, last point. Projection comes honestly when your placement and your breathing and your posture are in harmony, as one would say. So I think there is a common misconception that singing loud is projection and just yelling and shouting equals loud, when that's not the case. I mean, like, how can opera singers fill an entire opera theater or opera house without any microphones? It's because they can project the voice that loud. And that comes with finding the perfect opening for your vocal folds so that the frequency matches perfectly the frequency of your chosen resonator. And then that's when your sound is amplified the biggest. So don't feel like you have to strain yourself when you want to sing loud. Just find what you're comfortable singing, your placement, and you'll automatically sound good.
That's really cool. So it's really not about like pushing more air. It's more about finding the right resonance. Okay.
Yes, and the placement. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay.
Okay.
Next slide. Okay, I'm there.
Okay, posture. If you're at home and you're able to, I'd like you to stand up.
All right, here we go.
Okay, so
get out of bed,
this slide
guys.
might look a bit intimidating, but honestly, once you get used to it, it really just becomes like second nature. So let's walk through it. So first, stand with feet shoulder width apart. Okay. You want to be upright but not tense. So I want you to soften your legs so that you're sort of, but not like bend them, you know, just soften them so you're not actually, you know,
floating
tense.
on my legs.
Yeah. And try and keep your back straight as possible. If you guys didn't know, your spine is actually not straight. It's like a curved S shape. So when you sing, you want to actually tuck in the bottom of that S shape as much as possible. And in order to do that, you should like tuck in your pelvis if possible.
Ooh.
Yes. Don't lock your knees. Very important. Yes, I'm looking at the comments. Don't lock your knees.
Yes, don't lock your
Okay.
knees.
Tuck in pelvis. Yes. And what helps me is that I imagine a piece of string connecting the top of my head, my spine, and to my tailbone, and it should be as straight as possible.
Mm.
And then tuck in your chin, and it should ideally be parallel to the floor.
Oh boy.
Yeah, because a lot of singers actually, you'll see them, especially I think pop singers, they tend to like, you know, when they sing really high, they like strain their neck and they like look upwards.
That's me.
Yeah. It's not the most favorable
Yeah,
position
I
to
gotta
be
work
able
on
to
that.
project. Yeah, because mainly because it does more harm to you than good. Like you can't really sustain singing like that for a long time because you'll get tired.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so try and relax your chin and tuck it in.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have the
And then
worst
last
posture.
thing, the last thing you want to do is relax your shoulders. Never have tense shoulders because that also impacts your breathing capabilities as well. Okay.
Okay.
So I just want you all to remember that like your body is your instrument with singing, so you have to take care of yourself well.
Okay.
I also sing while sitting because what is a good? Yeah, you can absolutely do this while sitting as well. Maybe not the tuck the pelvis in sort of thing, but
tucking my tailbone in
if
my
you
chair.
like to record when sitting down, that's fine. Just try and keep your back straight and not like curved, but still straight, and then also your feet firmly rooted to the floor because you want your sound to be sort of supported.
I actually do record sitting down, but it's only because of space limitations. I much prefer singing standing up.
Okay. Yeah, you do sound better when you stand up.
Okay. Next slide.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Breathing. Okay, so breathing. Yeah, I'm literally just going to say the same thing as everyone has said before, which is engage your diaphragm. That's the most important thing. So what your diaphragm is, yes, it is a sheet of muscle that separates your thoracic cavity, your like chest cavity, from your abdominal contents, like your stomach and your intestines and all of that, right? Its actual function is not really known that well, but it is very important when it comes to breathing. If you have a look at the diagram,
isn't that like what controls your breathing? I thought, or
yeah, but you don't. Some people don't actually always fully engage the diaphragm. That they use it slightly, but they don't fully, use it to its full extent.
Huh? So are they just
Because
like
actually,
are they
yeah,
just using their like other muscles or what?
yeah, but
Interesting.
like, yeah, and you don't have to fully flatten your diaphragm when you breathe. You can also like just flatten it slightly.
Oh, okay.
So if you look at the diagram, I also really hate how they've said out breath and in breath. Like that makes no sense. But it's like, okay, so when you're breathing out, sort of in your natural state, you see that the diaphragm is a very curved sort of bell shape, right?
Okay.
And you see that the space inside is not a lot compared to when you're breathing in. That's because obviously when the diaphragm flattens, it increases the area that's inside. The volume that's inside your cavity.
Makes sense.
Allowing more air to come in. And the important thing is to allow air to come in naturally and not to force it in. Because I always hear a lot of singers gasp for breath. That's not very good.
Oh yeah.
Because,
Guilty as
I mean,
charged.
if you use it stylistically, then I think that's a different thing. But if you're using it constantly, like you'll tire very quickly. And you're engaging things called the accessory muscles, like your shoulders. You see some singers shrug when they breathe, right? Their shoulders.
Oh
move
yeah,
too.
yeah. That's like
That's
really
not
bad,
good.
right? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, your accessory muscles are really only supposed to help you breathe when you're in respiratory distress. They're not supposed to be used to help you breathe normally.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah, so you try to avoid using them
another
as much
bad
as
habit.
possible. Yeah, that's why I say relax your shoulders. Because if you use your shoulders to breathe, you'll only be breathing in 25% of your actual capacity.
Totally. Literally does
Okay.
everything you're saying not to do, but I have to work on that. Okay. Next slide.
Oh no, wait. Let me talk
wait.
about how you can practice this.
Okay, we're going back.
Sorry,
going
that
back.
was a long rant.
Sorry.
Breathing is very important, everyone. So how to practice this is you can do it now if you want, but you can lie on the floor.
All right, guys, lie back down.
With your hand on your stomach, and then breathe in. But when you breathe in, sort of imagine that you've just gotten to the top of a mountain, and you're breathing in like the fresh, crisp mountain air right down to the bottom of your lungs. Try imagine that, and then feel your stomach expand outwards while you're breathing in. When it does, that means you're actually using your diaphragm.
I'm getting fatter.
Yeah, you get fatter. That's why singing is so like unflattering. It's just you get double chins, you get a big stomach.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So, okay, anyway. Yes, so your hand will move upwards while you do it, so you can sort of tell. If you want to sort of work on diaphragm control, you can put a book on your stomach as well and try it, like, hold it up for a few seconds before relaxing. Yeah.
Putting weights on your stomach.
Yeah, basically. Because, it is a muscle that you need to train.
True.
Right? So after you've done that, you'll be good to do it upright, like when you're normally singing. And when you actually sort of master using your diaphragm to breathe, you can choose how much air to breathe in at a certain point of time. So like say you have a short phrase, you can breathe in less, but still have a good quality breath so that you don't have too much breath at the end and you don't run out of breath at the end as well.
Makes sense.
Okay.
All right.
We can do next slide.
No, I'll go to the next slide. Okay.
Oh god. Okay. Sorry, I'm just gonna drink some water.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, I've
also,
already.
Drink water, please.
I have my water with me. I've already gone through like 70% of it, just like in the preparation for today.
Okay. So I've actually written out these, the sheet music for these, just in case people want to refer to them.
Awesome.
But the most important thing is that when you warm up, not when you warm up, when you sing, you always have to warm up. Like, I'm sure we all know that we sound absolute crap in the morning after we've woken up with no warming up and we cannot sing anything. That's because our voice, again, needs to be warmed up like any muscle in your body. Okay? So with these exercises, I'll try and do them here, even though my jaw is not really cooperating today.
Oh, sorry. Kyune is feeling a little bit under the weather, but she's graciously still doing the stream, so Kyune is awesome.
No, okay. I want you guys to do this, these warm-ups on an R vowel, but I might do it on an U, just so I hurt my jaw a bit less. Okay? So you can just follow after me. I'll just demo each one. So the first one is just the most basic 5-note, 9-note scale, more like. So it's ooh, right?
I will do with the ah, I guess.
Yeah.
I'll just do an octave lower, so ah.
Okay. Yeah, so I won't do the entire thing, but you should ideally repeat this exercise an octave up each, not an octave up, a semitone up with each repeat until you've reached the end of your comfortable range. And the most important thing is when you're crossing your vocal break, you want to try, don't push the sound, but try and like smooth out that break as much as possible.
Oh, that's so hard.
Make use of that mixed voice placement I was talking about before. The fire truck siren. Try and put your voice sort of in your nasal cavity, in your nose area. Like you can. So the next exercise actually will be working on your mixed voice placement. So you can go to the next one.
I'm like the hardest. I'm so bad at this. Next one. Okay.
Yeah. So the number 2 is quite fun actually.
Oh, the nays.
You will not sound very nice doing this, but that's okay because it's just a practice. So I want you guys to follow me and use your most whiny, annoying voice that you can use. Yeah. Yeah, don't push it, don't force it out, but like yeah, so we can do it together. So nay 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 nay. Yeah. So where you feel that ne, like that n, that's where your mixed voice placement should be.
Oh man.
If that makes any sense. Yeah. So this is to like sort of train the feeling of your voice being like there where it is. So you can just do that. Do that around the notes of your vocal break to sort of strengthen that area if possible. Okay. The last exercise is a bit more advanced. So I would recommend, like, if you think that's too easy and then you still want to challenge something, then yeah, go ahead and do this. I'll do it on an U as well, but it'd be nice to do it on an R. I say do it on an R because it's an open vowel and it actually exposes your vocal breaks more.
Oh god.
Which means that you know where you have to work on things. Whereas a closed vowel actually sort of can hide your weaknesses a little bit.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. So this one goes like ooh.
Oh fucking. Sorry.
It's very fast.
Wait. Wait, I forgot it already.
That's a hard one, yeah.
Uh,
Do you want me to do it again?
Can you just do it one more time a little
Maybe
bit
I'll do it
slow?
slightly slowly. Okay.
Okay. Oh, okay. The sheet music is slightly different from what you're singing. Okay, now I'm
Really?
confused. It's missing.
No, I think it's right.
On the second measure, there's when you go ooh, this it just goes
Oh yeah. Yo.
ooh.
Okay, no, that's my mistake.
That's why I was like, wait, that's not what is written. But
No.
okay.
There's more notes than I thought there were.
That's we can do. I mean, I'll do it the way you're singing it because that sounds good.
Okay. Okay.
Like shitty, but is that the
Okay,
notes
yeah.
right?
Yes.
Okay.
That's really good for exposing
Oh my
your
god,
transition.
Marcus, like this
Yeah.
is vocal sweep picking, which is like literally what it feels like. It's a guitar thing.
Yeah, so it's a good thing to sort of try and build up to do, because once you can do that without there being any like noticeable change in your voice, excuse me, that means like that you've sort of mastered the transition between chest and head.
Okay. Oh, that was hard.
Also, like you guys don't have to remember the recordings from this stream. I'll like link the recordings of the warm-ups in the description
Thank you, Kyune.
later, because I haven't gotten around to recording them yet because of my jaw.
Take
But
your
I'll
time.
do them. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks so much. Okay, next
Okay,
slide.
cool. Oh, it's
Oh.
your turn,
Oh, it's my turn.
Sensei.
All right, I'm gonna turn off the jazz music for this part because it's a little bit distracting for me. Wait, sorry, let's go back.
Okay. I'll just read through
Oh.
the comments and see if there's anything we should answer.
Yeah, so because this part I'm gonna demonstrate with some songs, and it's hard for me to do it when I hear the jazz in the background. All right, so I'm gonna talk about belting, and I'm not the most like technical singer, and I didn't get classical training like Kyune did. I got a little bit of vocal training when I was touring with a band just to help me with my endurance. But I want to talk about like maybe some people who are struggling with belting, how to achieve the belt, and then also how to manipulate your belt to get different timbres, as Kyune would pronounce it. I hate the way Americans say it. It's like timbre. It sounds so
Timbre?
it sounds so uneducated. Timbre. Okay, so what is belting? And I think Kyune had a better explanation for this, and I had no idea what it was. But some people say it's you're bringing your chest voice above your breaking range, and it's a little bit deceptive to think of it that way because if you try to do that literally, it's not good for your throat. It's really mechanistically a type of singing in which your vocal folds are closed tightly on a higher percentage of the time than they're open. So it's been measured, and they say when people are belting, they're like the vocal folds are closing like 70% of the time. And I think also it's, Kyune, you mentioned those two muscles. When you're belting as opposed to falsetto, you're using the AT more or
TA.
TA
But
more.
yeah, you remembered.
TA more. And so, that's another difference mechanistically. Oh, and so Sawa is talking about how to control vibrato while belting. I don't go into that really far in this stream and just talking about the timbres and how to achieve the belt, but I can try to demonstrate a little bit. I'm not the best vibrato with, especially really high belting. I'm really bad at that, but I can try to go over that a little bit also while we do our demos.
Do you produce vibrato?
Yeah, I do, and it's so I think you're referring to the schools where your vibrato is sort of passive and a result of your placement and everything working the way it is. But like a lot of pop music and I guess Japanese music and rock music is kind of a forced vibrato where the person is literally like going like making making their shifting the pitch up and down consciously. That's actually how I learned my vibrato. It's not, it's kind of a to taste thing, and everybody has a different way of doing it. But to me, it's actually an active vibrato that I'm doing.
Okay.
Okay, and then to support that, pressing your vocal folds together, you're gonna need more muscular engagement. So it uses muscles in the head, neck, and in your diaphragm. But it's important to note, as Kyune mentioned, is you have to relax your other muscles. Like muscular engagement doesn't mean to tense up, and that's gonna get in the way of belting nicely. You want to stay relaxed, but you got to support your belt with those muscles. So next I'm going to talk about placement, and as Kyune covered, placement is really important for the color. What is that? Chiaroscuro.
Wow.
Of the I'm trying to apply what you taught so far of the way you sound, and that applies for belting as well. So I'm gonna do a little exercise right now, and I hope you guys can follow along. This is I'm gonna try to show physically how you can go into a belt. All right, so I'm going to start with a head voice and then switch that into what I call a middle placed belt. And these are not official names. I didn't go to school for this, so I don't know if it's actually termed correctly. But I'm gonna go for my head voice and I'm gonna go to a middle placed belt, and then I'm going to do what Kyune was doing earlier and shift it into the mask or into your like hard palate more, and you'll hear the change in sound. And so first thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna start with a head voice, and then I'm gonna slowly close my vocal folds until it turns into a belt, and it's gonna sound nasty, and you might crack, but that's okay because this is just an exercise. So head voice, I'm just gonna pick a arbitrary high note, like or and then I'll slowly squeeze my vocal folds until it closes into a belt. And it sounds a little nasty and crackly, but that's okay. So, and if you guys can try that, it's pretty fun.
I don't no idea how you can do that.
You don't have to. You don't have to try. But if you guys want to try, go ahead. So and then I'm gonna do head voice to a middle place belt, and then I'm gonna shift to a forward place belt. And I want you guys to pay attention to the difference in the timbre of it. So. Do you hear how it gets a little louder? It gets brighter. Okay. And so those are like the major differences in the sound of the middle place and the forward place belt. So this is an exercise you can do. You just start for their head voice, go to your mid place belt, forward place belt, and then shift between forward place and mid place and just go back and forth. So I'm gonna do that all together. And that's basically how you belt. Very important thing. So on the last diagram, I have an X on it, and that's where you kind of envision I hear some singers do this, and I did this for a long ass time, is you feel it like kind of coming out of your throat, and sometimes it makes a throaty sound that, you know, some rock singers find desirable, but you really don't want to do that. It's bad for your throat, and you can achieve that same aggressive sound in different ways that are more healthy. And so,
I actually wanted to come in here because Jenna, like, she commented saying if we could talk about potential damages to vocal cords when you have unhealthy singing
for sure.
habits.
Oh yeah.
Like,
So I was singing like this for like a long time. When I was touring with a band, I, you know, had like a throaty kind of singing, and I lost my voice in the middle of the tour. And it was the worst thing. I was so embarrassed because I would go to the remaining shows and I just like couldn't sing. So after that, I was seeking coaching, and they basically taught me how to place your voice properly. Don't do it in the throat. You're gonna wear out your throat, and you're gonna wear out your vocal folds, and it's really bad. Especially because in belting, there's a lot of pressure being put on your vocal folds, and if you're not supporting it the right way, it can damage your throat. So please be careful, and be cognizant of the placement.
Yeah,
Okay.
because your vocal folds are sort of like, you know, they're not meant to be smashed together. They're meant to like gently pulsate against each
and
other.
that's a good way of describing it. It's like it feels sometimes like they're smashing together.
We really do not want to smash them together. And the most important thing is that you can actually cause irreversible damage. And you only have one pair of vocal cords.
This is your only instrument, so take good care of it.
Yeah, for sure. And one more thing is that if it hurts, don't do it. Bottom line, if it hurts, it's not supposed to hurt. Singing is supposed to come very effortlessly. So never try and push your voice to do what it doesn't want to do. And if it hurts, just take a break, drink some water, maybe try it another day.
Yes, absolutely. So don't force your voice to do something that you don't feel good doing. Okay. Says while I'm almost burping right now. Sorry. Okay, I'm gonna go to the next slide. I'm gonna talk about the difference between these two types of placement, and this is like the two ways I categorize my belting. And I'm sure there's a lot of different other belts, but this is not an official list. This is just how I kind of think about it. And I demonstrated it before, and it's the middle placement belt, in which you're envisioning that the resonance is kind of happening like in your sinus, you know, a little more receded, not like right in your mask. And when you're using this kind of belt, it's got a slightly more nasal tone. It's smoother, and you have more control over the volume of it, so it can be both loud or soft. And then the other one is the forward placed belt, or the mask placed belt. And this is where you feel the resonance right up front of your face, like in your hard palate. Like you can feel your like lips vibrating when you do it. When this is the same thing as Kyune was talking about earlier. And this will sound more open and more bright, and it's got like an aggressive sound to it. Sometimes you can add a little bit of vocal fry to it and make it even more aggressive. We're not going to talk about that here. And it's pretty much just loud when you do this. And this is in a lot of rock songs, a lot of pop songs. So I want to just demonstrate some songs to show where you can utilize each of these different types of placements.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I was looking forward to.
So the first song I'm going to do is Thunderbird by TM Revolution. This is an old song. It's a ballad. This is like a piano rearrangement of an old song that's slow and emotional, and it's like intimate and delicate. But TM Revolution does not do falsetto, and he does not do mixed voice. He belts everything. So how are you going to belt everything but still have like the soulful, smoothly delivered ballad? And I want to just show you a little bit about how he does that. Let's do, I'm going to play it back from, let's say, a minute.
What's the time?
1 minute.
Okay. 1 minute, okay.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Yeah, here we go. 1 minute. 106, I'll play it there.
106? Okay.
Yes.
We need to start singing.
波のない街で浮かんだ影のに包まれてゆく命 日はまだ咲いてゆくから
Okay, in the chorus, listen to this part.
孤独な羽を晒して君だけの羽ばたきを見せて
Okay.
Oh, this
So-
song is so nice.
It's amazing, right? And as
Yeah.
you can hear, he's belting every single note, but it's
Yeah,
not
but
not
it's-
yeah, it's not grating, it's not aggressive sounding.
Yeah.
So how are we going to achieve that? So what I want to focus on is that first note of the chorus where he goes kotoku na, and it sounds a little like this. Kotoku na hane wo sarashite kimi da ke no mabatake wo misete. And I want to bring attention to the fact that it's a middle place, just on the ko, so it's go. And if I were to do it a mask place, you'll
Wow.
hear the difference. It'll sound like this. Go! So obviously, if I were to use the mask placement for that note, it's not appropriate. It's too aggressive. Like if I went, "Kotoku na hane wo sara," it sounds like a different genre of a song.
Yeah.
So,
Hard
you know,
rock.
right. And so if we want to use that trick we were doing before, where we're shifting our placement, let's say I'm gonna shoot for this ko. So I'll go for the falsetto, ko, and then I'll squeeze my vocal fold until it turns into a belt. Ko, ko. But now, just like that, it sounds whiny and kind of nasty. So you want to put a little bit more support, a little bit more air and resonance, and then it becomes more like go doguna, and that's how you can get that tone without being overbearing and aggressive. So so again, the difference is if I shift it like actively, it'll go like go. It's like the exact same thing that Kyune was talking about earlier when we were shifting the placement just in the belt, and it has that same characteristic change in the sound of it. It becomes more bright, more aggressive sounding. So that's a good example of the mid-place belt. Now I'm going to go to the more forward place belt, and I'm going to use a song that probably everybody here knows. It's One Ok Rock, The Beginning.
Woohoo.
So this is, he has it fully in his mask the whole time. It's really aggressive.
Oh wait, sorry. There's one question.
Oh, yes, let's go back.
How do you get more support in your voice when you belt?
Oh, yes.
From sync?
Okay, so it's got to all come from your diaphragm. And this is what Kyune was talking about earlier. So you got to relax your chest, relax your shoulders, relax your neck, head, and you're just going to, all you're doing is going to like, it's like you're flexing your stomach a little bit, and I don't know, but it feels like you're pressing against something. So like, I mean, if I try to demonstrate like, go, and then I'll put a little bit of support into it, and go, versus not as much support. I'll be like, go, you know, that's basically what I'm imagining is happening when you put more support into it.
Yeah.
And I apologize if it's not more detailed than that. Yeah, go ahead, yeah.
No. I think personally, another fun exercise to do to see if you're really using your diaphragm properly is when you breathe in fully, try and like punch your stomach.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Not really hard, but like, you know, if your stomach stays like taut and stays sort of inflated, that means that you've properly inflated it like a balloon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's a good thing.
I really like that
My
you touched.
teacher used to walk around like patting our stomachs when we were singing, just
yeah.
to make sure we were breathing properly.
Totally, yeah. I'm really glad you covered that, because my vocal teacher also really emphasized on having engaging your diaphragm for that, and not doing anything. Don't use anything else. You know, if you're using other muscles, you're putting unnecessary strain on your singing, and that's not good.
Yeah, that is true.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to go back to the forward place belt, and we're going to use the beginning. I'm going to do the chorus, so let me see if I can find the timestamp for that. And you guys know this song. Like, I basically don't need to show you. It's, I think, like 109. Let's try from there. 3, 2, 1.
Just tell me how I can never give up 苦しいほど切ない Just tell me why baby They might call me crazy For saying like right
Okay, so this is really aggressive, right? Just tell me why, baby. But the notes I want people to focus on are tell, so tell me why, and those notes, and also the be of baby, and that's where it feels super in your mask. And it sounds a little like, just tell me why, baby. Wait, just tell me why, baby. They might call me crazy. And sorry if it's a little pitchy right now.
That's so good.
No, it's just like, and I want to demonstrate the difference between doing that mask placement and the middle placement I was just doing before. So if I were to do a middle place, it'd sound more like, just tell me why, baby, they might call me crazy, versus, just tell me why, baby, they might call me crazy. And I hope you guys can hear the difference.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like really like shoves it into like your mask, and you can feel your like lips vibrating. And again, if you want to try to figure out like work up to it, we can do that like exercise again. So we get to tell, we can tell, and we can go tell. So
Wow.
and then like I broke a little bit there because you can actually, he's in the actual song, he's adding fry to it also, which makes it even more aggressive, but you don't need to do that. And when he sings live, he usually doesn't do it fry because he wants the endurance. So he just goes, just tell me why, baby, they might call me crazy. And that is like the quintessential example of the forward place belt. And I'm gonna do one more example. This is going to be more ambiguous. So I'm just going to go with the very beginning of the song, the intro portion. And I think this is interesting because it's obviously this is a girl singing it. But as a guy trying to sing a girl's song, if I went 100% mask placement, it would sound rather masculine, I think. But if I did it 100% middle placement, I think it would sound weak. So for this, I think I would try to go for something in between. Let's play that real quick, just from the beginning.
I'm sure everyone knows this song.
Yeah, everybody knows this song, right? Okay, so how are we gonna approach the susume, right? It's like susume. Of course, that's the most important. So, it'll be starting off from a middle placement completely because it's soft, and then you're gonna kind of gradually add a little bit more mask to it. So big, 僕を連れて進め. And like, if I try to demonstrate the difference between a fully mid place versus a fully masked, it'll be like fully mid would be a susume, versus fully masked would be like susume. And so, like, there's some interpretation that involved in this. It's not objective, like, oh, you should do mid placement for this type of song and mask forward placement for this type of song. It's a little bit up to you and what you're trying to achieve. And so that's what I want to demonstrate with that. And with that, I'm concluding my section on belting tips. And then I think we just have some resources that Kyune provided here.
It's basically, we'll share the PowerPoint with you guys, but it's just what I used to make this stream, like the PowerPoint. Some of these YouTube videos are very interesting, so I recommend reading and watching them if you have time. I think maybe now we can put on the jazz again and maybe answer some questions.
Oh
I
yeah,
think there were a few questions.
let's do some
that came
Q&A
up.
right now. I'm gonna put on that jazz.
That jazz. That was really nice though. It's like a live fome concert.
Oh my
Wow.
god, no, that was.
What did I do to
I'm
deserve this
so
in my
like
life?
scratchy. And then let me switch it to the other background right now. All right, so now we should have some
Night of smooth jazz.
Night of Smooth Jazz. Okay, so you guys got any questions?
I think okay, so there were a few things before.
Yes.
Things that people pointed out as well that I think was good. I think Volcane just pointed out that during warm-ups, you just have to be patient with your voice. Because I wanted to mention that as well. Like you probably won't get it in your first go, and that's okay. That's completely fine. Like it's like working out a muscle. It takes a long time to build up. So just make sure that you never push yourself too much, so that it hurts. And just take your time with these things. Yeah.
Okay, I saw two questions. First one is from Bubble, and then one is from Sync Crony City. Synchronicity. So sync. I was like, what synchronicity? Okay, so Bubble asks, so the difference really lies in where you place your voice and how to strengthen your diaphragm, and I think you got that exactly right.
Yeah, completely. I mean, the strengthening your diaphragm will allow you to have enough breath and support to be able to place your voice in different places. One thing that really happens, maybe we could cover this on a different stream, but there's one thing breathing in, but breathing out is also actually very important. So how you sustain your breath throughout the phrase so that it doesn't like wobble off at the end, that's also very important. But like that will come when you've actually trained your diaphragm well enough. Yeah, so that sort of support will allow you to sort of do different things with your voice and also work on musicality and allow your vibrato to come through.
Okay, let's see. Then we have. Oh wait, Ampan in sync. Sorry, I missed Ampan's question. She's asking, is it natural that high register has a weaker resonance? No, I think it's actually the
really
opposite.
do not think so. I think for me personally, I get really loud when I sing high. And my lower notes are weaker resonance. I think it really just depends on how used to using those different resonating chambers that we talked about before. So for a lot of people, actually, obviously because we speak in chest voice, the head voice is very unnatural for them to use. So for a lot of people, the head voice is very weak. But once you start working on placing your voice, as I said, like in the inward smile placement, try and put it in your cheekbones, and sing while doing that, and sort of what my teacher says is that try and imagine that you're pulling spaghetti out of your mouth as you sing.
Oh yeah.
So you're like focusing on the spaghetti coming out and you want to make your phrase legato and like smooth. Then actually you can have a very, very, very strong high register as a soprano. I mean, you can tell by like, opera pieces, sopranos, like they go hard,
Oh yeah, totally. I think for when I belt, I feel more resonance when I get higher. Like when I'm belting a high note, it's like vibrating my freaking face.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see.
Oh, that's quite
Let's see. Yeah, how do I increase my chest range? That's what I want to talk about, because I don't want people to think that you're like bringing up your chest, because that'll end up sounding like it sounds like you're struggling to like pull up your chest. That's what singing coaches will call your pulling chest, which is not what you want to do. So it's supposed to be like just a closing of the vocal folds at a higher register than your breaking point. So my breaking point is pretty low because I'm a baritone. So if I were to sing without any belting, like that's about where it breaks. Right?
Actually, you know what? That's really interesting, because the notes where you just sang, that is the usual break for most male singers. It's around like the F4 note. Like so for you, it's the F sharp.
Oh wow! Do you have perfect pitch?
I do have perfect pitch.
Oh my god! That's so crazy. Oh wow. Okay, that's super cool.
But yeah.
And so.
Sorry, so continue. I thought that was quite.
Yeah. So I break there, but it's not like So how am I gonna pull? How am I going to belt above that note? I'm not going to try to pull my chest above it. I'm not gonna go. It's just like not the right thing to do. So when I sing above that, I'm doing the thing I demonstrated before, where it's like where I start a falsetto, and then gradually close my vocal folds. Put a little
You
bit
know
more
what?
muscular support on that.
I actually think you're using mixed voice. Because
I
I
really
don't
don't.
think it's like
I-
because when you transition from head to chest, because I was thinking like especially in your like mask, no, your middle placement belt.
You know,
put the
so
placement, yeah.
I forgot to mention this. I really don't think it's a mixed voice.
Really?
And the
Okay.
reason why is like if I do a mix, that's my mixed voice. Like, but my belt is
Okay.
like I'm so like when my vocals like for my mixed voice, I'm actually mixing head and chest. But when I do
Okay.
my belt at like a middle place belt, I forgot to
Mhm.
say I wanted to say this before, but don't get this confused with a mixed voice because it
Yeah,
feels
I was a bit confused.
yeah,
Yeah.
it really feels different. Like mixed voice is like
Okay.
I think that's like a mixed voice, and then my middle
Okay.
place belt is like
It does definitely sound different.
yeah, it sounds different, right?
Mm.
And so back to the question is how to increase your chest range. Don't think of it as pulling chest. Think of it as mechanically you're doing something different when you're hitting those high notes above your breaking range, where you're just trying to close your vocal folds and then supporting it with your diaphragm and all the good stuff. Okay.
There's quite a lot. Okay.
Yeah, there's so many questions.
Okay. What would your advice be for drinks during and before recording sessions? Does the whole milk with honey and stuff really work? Okay, so I think it really is individual for that. I personally like to drink only water because I think that's the best thing to drink. Sugar can sort of clog up your chords. What's the word? I mean, not really your chords. Sort of it can clog up your throat a little bit, which means that you'll be a bit phlegmy sometimes. That happens for me anyway.
Yeah, I do
And
not
dairy
drink milk.
dairy does the same thing for me, and I think honey would do the same as well. I think what people do with like honey and milk is that they want to lubricate their throat, which I guess would work, but for me the phlegm overpowers that. So
I
I'd
heard
rather
people
just
eat
drink
fried
normal
chicken
water.
before recording because it like helps the
Right?
oil. The oil
Yeah,
helps.
you know what? Actually, some people drink a tablespoon of olive oil.
Yeah, I
that
heard
same
that's more
reason.
helpful than like honey and dairy stuff.
Yeah, which I thought actually I heard actually works, but I've never tried it. Yeah, so I think it really depends on you. Like whatever works best for your voice, you can just do. For me, it's just water because
me
I'm
too.
simple.
I'm only just the water. I used to try a bunch of different things and just concluded that they're all crappy compared to water. Do you want to do this
How
next
do you hit-
question? Or
How do you hit lower notes without too much breathy sound?
I think Yano had one right before that about
Oh, really?
shifting between different placements.
Okay. So we can actually no, let's not go back to the slides. It might be a bit too much. But again, it's about mixing your voice. So for me personally, like I don't really use my chest voice that much, but if I try to, I'd be like let me try and just demonstrate. So I'd be like chest.
Oh my god, your transition is so
already-
smooth.
Yeah, so that's already covers my transition. But what I do for that is that when I know I'm reaching the notes where I like normally break, I try and move the sound towards the front of my face, like my sort of nose area, so that it sort of masks the break. I think there's a more technical way that this actually does happen, but that's basically what I visualize. So your placement will basically, you can imagine your voice coming out from your chest up to sort of the throat area, your larynx, and then doesn't go to the back of your throat. That's not good. Don't swallow your voice, but straight to the mouth, the lips, up to the nose, and then up to your sort of cheekbones and your sinus area.
And I
That's
want
what
to add to that is relax when you're transitioning. If you add extra tension, it makes it easier to break.
Yeah, for sure. And just relax. This thing just comes with a lot of practice. Like I only recently managed to sort out my vocal break, and I've been singing for years and years.
Well, your vocal,
So-
you have no break. It's so smooth.
Yeah, it's honestly one of those things. It's like working out at the gym. It just takes time and effort, really. Yeah, but don't be afraid of your break. I know a lot of people are afraid, so they just avoid it, or they just like jump from chest to head. Like if you want to work on your vocal break, then I think try and work on your mixed voice. That would be my advice.
Let's see. So M-kun was asking about how to extend your range.
No, I think there was one before that, right?
How? Okay,
No
this
one
can be combined with There's another person who also asked about airiness.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's see. Where is that other question? I saw 2 people ask about having too breathy. Yeah.
Okay.
I have some thoughts on that. Did you have anything you want to say about that?
I think usually people associate like a breathy noise with head voice, right? That's why we normally think. And also,
Yeah.
if you hit lower notes while sounding breathy, that's probably because you're taking your head voice down. And it's the same thing with you shouldn't pull your chest voice up. You shouldn't bring your head voice down too. Because I'll demonstrate. If I try to do my head voice all the way down, so like I'll have no support at the bottom.
Yeah.
So you just have to try and transition into your chest voice somewhere along that scale or your range. And in terms of like head voice in general being a bit breathy, that's because you're letting too much air through your vocal cords.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
I mean, it's easier said than done because you can talk about letting air through, but what actually happens in practice? Let me try and think.
Yeah. Well, my vocal. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, actually, no. You say something first. Because I actually haven't thought about this.
I had this issue for a while. My vocal teacher was saying you're using too much air for falsetto, and that it'll wear you out more. It's like if you even when you whisper a lot, it's really bad for your throat. It's the same.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. You want to use as little air as possible, actually. This is another thing where Kyune was saying, like, with breath support, using only your diaphragm, you really shouldn't have to be going like, because you're not using that much air, Like,
For sure.
you're singing a high note. If you're belting a high note, you're pressing your folds so much that very little air is actually going through. And even when you're singing a falsetto, you're keeping it like a round, pure tone, and so it's not really airy sounding. And I know there are people with naturally airy timbres, like, aime or eme or something like that. But you should try to minimize the amount of air you're using, I think.
Yeah, like don't whisper into your notes, because that's letting extra air escape, and that's actually sort of coarse and damaging on your vocal cords as well. Like, you always want them to be sort of in contact with each other. Even if it's with head voice, if it's slightly oscillating, that's fine, but you don't want it to be like open, so you're just like sort of vomiting air back out. That's not a good thing.
Yeah. Don't vomit air back out. That's a good one. Don't let go of all the air that you spent all that work building up.
Yeah. I know some people use it as a technique to sing like soft and emotional. I think it's okay if you really want to do that for like 1 or 2 phrases, but
Right.
I wouldn't recommend doing it for like an entire song.
100% agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's a good stylistic thing, but like people, there's a reason they don't sing whole songs that way.
Yeah. Honestly.
Okay. Let's see. I saw someone asking about the difference between falsetto and head voice, but I think you did cover that. But you want to just say it again real quick?
There is an actual technical difference. So head voice is like a big subset. So it's when you're letting more air through your vocal folds. So if you imagine like when in chest voice, there's a lot of surface area that's touching between your 2 folds. In head voice, your vocal folds touch as well, but they're sort of just gently, like a jellyfish, like sweeping. If you imagine that sort of movement. With falsetto, actually, it's like head voice. The movement's like head voice, but they're actually part of your. It's just lots more air comes through. So it's like even bigger oscillations, like more air through.
Oh, interesting.
Like, yeah. So it is really just head voice, but just more air. What is different is when you do whistle tone, which is also head voice, but when that happens, actually, your vocal folds close slightly.
Oh,
Like
wow.
half of it pulses, and only the left, like the bit that's left behind, oscillates to make a high frequency.
Wow.
So like Ariana Grande, Mariah Carey, like when they sing really, 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 really high notes, like whistling, that's.
Oh my God,
I'm
so
not
that-
actually actually listening. I mean whistle toning, but yeah.
That's
That's
so
what-
cool.
that's how-
I didn't ever knew how that worked.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. Let's see. Any other questions?
Yeah.
So we covered airiness. Sounding scratchy.
Scratchy.
How to keep your voice from
Someone
sounding
asked about being nasally as well.
Yeah, I think
Mm,
sure. I do have some thoughts on nasally and scratchy.
mhm.
So for scratchy, when my voice gets scratchy, it's because my placement is wrong. It's if it's like too much in the throat, I'll get like scratchiness, and a lot of times my voice is scratchy before I warmed up, and because warming up, it's like teaching my brain to like figure out, okay, where am I gonna place it when I hit the note.
Yeah,
and if-
exactly.
And if I don't do that, it'll end up sometimes scratchy. And then the
Mhm.
nasal thing is, so I think it's important that when you're learning a lot of these techniques, it's going to start sounding nasal, and you want it to sound nasal because that means you're placing it correctly.
Yeah.
And
You can go backwards from there.
right. You have to first it has to sound bad before it sounds good, basically.
Yes.
Um,
Like the nay nay nays.
nays. It'll sound nasal, but then by putting more support into it and by finding the proper resonance chamber is basically how you can remove some of the nasalness out of it to make it sound more full.
Mhm. Yeah. And a lot of times actually, it's also to do with if you're dropping or raising your larynx as well, because that can change the type of sound you make.
Yeah, it's a really good point.
Yeah.
Um,
So if I drop my larynx and I'll be like, oh yeah, hello.
that
And
was
if I
kinda cool.
raise it, I'll be like, hello, hi, my name's Kyune.
oh my god.
So obviously,
That was a really
know.
good example.
yeah. So obviously the second is much more nasally and annoying and scratchy, and the first one just sounds like absolutely crap. So you want to you don't want to raise your larynx because that can happen sometimes when you're straining. When you're straining your throat and your neck, you'll bring your larynx up as well, and you just sound like a bit like this, you know.
Oh my
so
god.
relax your throat.
Your high larynx voice is so cool. It's just like it's really funny.
Yeah, so you just want to make sure that you're relaxed, and don't worry about putting your using a nasal placement, because actually that doesn't make you sound nasal. It's honestly probably because your larynx is up, or you're widening your vowels too much.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I see several people asking about mixed voice. Do you want to
Mixed
talk
voice.
about that at all?
Oh gosh. Okay.
I can't do
How
this.
does one control the sound of mixed voice, as in more chest, more head voice? Again, you can do it if you practice that gliss. So the glissando is when you sort of drag your voice up and down, normally about an octave. What I just did, basically, the that. Try practicing that. So towards your chest voice, towards the bottom, you'll engage more of your chest resonance as you're going. You feel your voice going downwards, and then as you go up, you feel your voice going upwards and into your sort of mask area, your face, and that's sort of a gradient. So if you stop at one note on that gradient, then you might have more chest, less head, or vice versa. So often, actually, it's not like a all or nothing thing. It's not all chest or all head. It really is. Sometimes you don't even know it, but you're using maybe 90% chest and 10% head, and you don't even know it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because actually, I want to clear up one thing. It's those two muscles I talked about that dominate chest and head voice. They don't work by themselves. They work together. So it's not that when you're using chest voice, it's only the TA muscle that's working. The other one is also working. It's just the TA muscle is much stronger.
I got it.
Yeah. So it really is about the ratios and like which one is, taking more percentage of the work. Finding your mixed voice.
Yes.
Again, do the nay nay nay. You'll
Yes.
find it, and do the fire siren. Whee!
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I think that's about it.
Yeah.
So I think we can wrap it up now. I hope
Mhm.
everybody found that useful. Thanks, Q&A, for being an awesome teacher.
No,
And-
thank you. I loved your demonstrations.
Oh, thanks. I hope that was practical for people to use. And
Yeah, I hope this was helpful.
yeah. And with that, we are going to end our stream. And oh yeah, Kyune is going to provide those reference files at a later point when she's feeling a little bit better.
Yeah. Oh, someone asked us to say you like jazz, like from the B movie. Do you want to say it?
What? No, I don't actually. I never saw that movie.
Oh.
You do it.
You like jazz?
Oh my god.
Okay. Good evening.
Good lord.
Goodbye.
Oh my god. ASMR. Okay. And
All right. Thank you for tuning in. And also, if you have any questions, feel free to DM me on Twitter.
oh yeah,
you
DM
want more
either of
specific-
us. And we'll be happy to help you with anything that you're working on.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye guys.